Hey yo, welcome back to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and as always, I am joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What's going on, Thorne?
Yo, I'm here.
Here we are.
First of 2024, trying to get back on schedule after everyone told us that our podcast sucked for the year 2023, so...
Yeah, I guess I gotta take that one. That's on me. I'm the only thing that really changed, I think, about the podcast as of recently. You've always been here and people liked it, and now I'm here and they said it sucks, so I gotta step it up, I guess. We had that meeting and Jeff from corporate yelled at me. He was like, "You better start recording that podcast or I'm gonna cut you."
No, Jeff from corporate was not at the meeting. let's just get that out of the way right now. We did have a bit of a kind of AIW inner circle meeting, try to get things kind of, somewhat organized. I feel like we had kind of like an up and down year, and a small group of people got together. And we discussed positives and negatives and everything in between over the weekend. And big negative was obviously the podcast was discussed as just something that slipped and something that we got to get back in the routine of, and get back in the routine of not just you and I, which, we're starting off bad because it's just you and I this week. But there were, it was a topic, and I'm mainly to blame for it just because, there's just been a lot, 2023 was a lot. There was a lot going on, started off with my car getting stolen, and that took up months of my time. And then, my house got destroyed. That took up, weeks of my time. So there was just a lot going on. And we are hoping to improve the overall quality of this podcast. Would you say?
Yeah, I guess.
Would you say that's a good description?
Yeah, definitely. I guess I'm guilty in it. I didn't really think people cared about the pod as much as I guess they do. Have had so many people tell me, like, when we don't put it out and this and that. When I've had asked people, they were like, "Yeah, where's it been?"
I mean, our ratings are a little bit better than Pod Van Dam's.
Right. Yeah, that's a low bar to jump over, but. I didn't think people cared as much. I thought, more of like, hey, a wrestling company, as long as, we're pushing out these wrestling shows and people wouldn't be too mad. But it turns out people kind of missed us, and they're looking for us. So, yeah, we're definitely going to make a concerted effort. I know we do already have plans to do a couple, like, roundtable type recordings. We are going to get together here pretty soon. Get a cast of AIW, people who were on the show.
Like how it used to be, like getting people together live and in person. That kind of went away, during COVID, and, just everyone's lives just going every different direction since then. And it was, also, like I don't have the equipment. Like the original equipment is used with, the production team and Chase Oliver now. They use it. As kind of like a backup, audio recording source. And then, I got the new gear set up, but half of it got stolen when my car got stolen. So, there's bits and pieces. So like we're down a bunch of stuff. And, now that it's a new fiscal year, maybe invest in some new mics and cables and things like that, so we can really get the ball rolling on the live podcast, because like I know, like, I see what your viewpoint was, because you've kind of you've transitioned from this like fan role into working for the company, and your main thing was like you just want to be at the shows and see the wrestling shows, but the podcast and all the stuff that we kind of discussed over the weekend, it's all like complimentary content. So like it's for the people that really like want more, they really enjoy the podcast. They enjoy like the promo reels, what we're calling the backstage pass on YouTube, all kinds of just all that stuff is complimentary content. and kind of gives a little bit more depth to AIW and the company. And I feel that the podcast, especially early on when Chandler was still alive and was on it every week, it really kind of, almost made people engage with the company, through the podcast. That's how, the Goldstein brothers discovered what AIW was, and so many other people kind of discovered it through the podcast. So we're hoping to kind of, raise the bar. We realized that it's, even not even last year, just since COVID hit, it was, it's been hit or miss. And, it's just repetition and routine are just so imperative with doing stuff like this. And once we got out of that routine, because it was released religiously weekly forever, and then kind of COVID hit and it started getting spotty. And, now that we're out of COVID, it just remained spotty. And then, it turned into, well, we got to make sure we do one before the week of the show. And then then it was just like the other weeks would kind of, no one could get together. So now we kind of are approaching it with a plan of attack. So hopefully you're going to see or hear some of the, the old sort of podcasts that people loved and enjoyed.
A big thing for me that's tough is, it's big shoes to fill, man. Chandler was so damn good. Like, he was so funny, and he remembers everything. Like, my memory is dog shit. Like, that dude, and if you're newer to the promotion, to AIW, go back and listen to the Chandler Biggins pods with him and Thorne, because the man is just, he could remember everything, moments in wrestling, stories from backstage, and he was a great storyteller. He was very good at relaying the stories on the pod too. That, like, not having Chandler anymore, it's just AIW pod took a hit, because that man was great on the mic.
Well, his like you said, his memory was just like, it was a steel trap. Like, there's stuff that happened last week that, like, I don't remember the details of, right. He would remember every little thing. So that was a big thing that we discussed over the weekend, was kind of upping the quality and consistency with the podcast, revamping the Patreon and finding a happy medium to get more people on that platform, as well as like deliver more premium things that we can deliver upon on a consistent basis. And the big thing also is, I don't know if people saw that YouTube ranking list that came out, where AIW is like the 26th most viewed YouTube or something about wrestling. I don't know what the exact description of it is, but that was something that I worked on a lot for years, was like building up the numbers on the YouTube, and that kind of also was a thing that kind of went to the wayside, so to speak. And I've really started, I kind of set myself up. Now I have 2 computers, so like we can really up the content that's going to be dropping on our YouTube. So we can hopefully, if they do that report next year, move up a couple slots.
Yeah, and you're redoing the page too of the Cleveland All Pro stuff. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of content coming that way. You're adding more and more onto that page. Is that separate from the AIW page as well? Is that a whole? That's
totally separate thing. That's more of like this. A lot of that footage is just lost. It's it's not out there. And I've over the years, people have been like, oh hey, I found this Cleveland All Pro VHS tape in my basement here, do you want it? And like Pedro had a bunch of stuff, and it's just kind of been sitting here. And I found a VCR, and I got some some shitty connector that will connect the VCR to a computer. I'm sure there's like plenty of like professional grade things out there, but it's not all that serious to like remaster the footage. I'm not trying to monetize it or anything. I'm just trying to kind of archive it. So that's kind of like a little separate project I've been doing, is archiving the Cleveland All Pro, just what I can find of it, because that's the stuff, like something like that is like something I do to kind of like re-engage myself as like a, because like it's easy to be like sick of AIW and sick of just, you know, working within the I guess the walls, so to speak, of wrestling. But then like, you know, Cleveland All Pro is what I went to like before I was involved in wrestling. When I was like, you know, 13, 14, 15 years old, I would go to those shows. So like uncovering some of this stuff is like, you know, it's like hidden gems, and it's like, you know, things that just brings, it just brings back like memories of, you know, being, you know, just engulfed in AIW. So it's like, it's almost like a, you know, like a something to do to just keep me like, you know, I don't know, put things in perspective and keep things on track, sort of thing. So I've been kind of doing that as like a hobby, so to speak. And then, you know, some of the old Cleveland All Pro like wrestlers that have, you know, they existed before even like the DVD era of wrestling. So like they don't even know that there's footage of themselves. So like a lot of people like have been, you know, kind of coming out of the woodwork, like, oh my God, you know, like my kids get to see that I was a wrestler, you know, like stuff like that. So you know, that's been pretty cool, getting contacted by some of these guys that have long left the wrestling business. You know, we're just kind of local, you know, like local, you know, guys in the scene for so long in the late 90s and early 2000s, and you know, they just kind of disappear, and now, you know, they're seeing that their matches are hitting YouTube now all of a sudden, you know, 20, 30 years later. So some of them are pretty excited. And, you know, Cool Ass Andy was like, he was like, hey, do you know this wrestler? Have you ever heard of this wrestler? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I was wearing a wrestling T-shirt, and some kid was like, look, my dad is a wrestler. And it was like a Cleveland All Pro. It was a Cleveland All Pro. He was watching Cleveland All Pro archives on YouTube, and he showed Cool Ass Andy.
Do you ever think about that like you've been in wrestling for that long, that you've seen literally go from VHS tape trading to DVD, to DVD's dead now, and VHS kind of coming back around / like everything online / streaming? Like, not to make you feel old, obviously, but like you've been doing this for so long, and like, and props to you for, you know, preserving the Cleveland legacy of professional wrestling. Like, professional wrestling is rich in Cleveland. Like, you know, we've been this territory has been down for a while. And, you know, like you said, these guys are out there like, holy shit, like probably have no idea that some of this is now hitting YouTube and stuff. And they're probably so pumped that, like, you know what I mean? Like, to get that preserved. And like you said, you're not trying to like monetize it, where you just want it out there so people can find it.
Yeah, it's just like something to do. And it's like, to me, it's like a treasure hunt. Like, none of these tapes are fucking labeled. And like, it's amazing that like how awful VHS quality is in comparison to like, you know, modern day video. And like, it's just, some of the stuff is just like, you could barely even fucking make it out, you know? And it's like I guess it is a long time ago, but it's like, you know, the year 2003 doesn't seem all that long ago, you know, like, to me. So like
the WWE network buffers a little bit, and we're all like, oh, come on, what the hell?
Yeah. So it's just like, that's the only thing. It's like, because, you know, in those days, like, monetizing independent wrestling was like, that wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, nobody was really like thinking about that, you know, in the 90s, and like that didn't even really become a thing until like, you know, like Smart Mark Video started, you know, kind of leading the charge with IW Mid-South and CZW stuff. But like, nobody was like, I remember like going to Cleveland All Pro shows, and like their big thing was like, he would take footage, JT, which I couldn't even imagine doing this now. Like, he would like hand edit together a VHS tape. So like, he would have like a dual deck VCR, and he would like hand edit like another tape together, and then they would record commentary over it. And then the big thing is he took that tape to like public access TV every week, and then
like, what a labor of love, you know what I mean?
But that was like, that was the thing. It's like
hand.
Everything was like Cleveland All Pro television taping, and it was like for cable access. and like then he would take those master tapes or whatever, and like you could buy them for $1 at Cleveland All Pro. Like that's what like a lot of these tapes that I have, you know, or like if you bought like a T-shirt, you know, you would get like one of these master tapes for free, and like, you know, like one of them, it's like, you know, Cleveland All Pro Wrestling tape 53, first air March 3rd, 2003. You know, and it's just like just like a tape. It's like an hour tape that he would drop off at, you know, whatever Time Warner or, you know, Cablevision or wherever it was, and that's what they would put on the air.
Was it like encouraged that for fans to bring like cameras in the crowd to like fan cam footage?
No, not at all. Like nobody thought like no, like you have to think it's like we have a camera in our pockets now. Like if you brought a fucking camcorder somewhere, and then like you would, you know, the battery life was probably not great in those days. You know, like they would have just like a lot of this is just like one camera footage. You know, like it is somebody that was like with Cleveland All Pro. That like, you know, it's just one, like it's like a floor shot, or like some of these tapes are just like a hard cam and that's it. So it's just like, it's just kind of like interesting to like go back to that, you know, it's like going into a time capsule almost. And like, you know, just, it's crazy that like, you know, now video is just like an afterthought. Everything is recorded. Everything is streamed live. Like everything is just like
gift and all that.
Yeah, and it's just like in those days, like nobody gave a fuck. It was like, come buy a fucking $7 ticket. You know what I mean? Like or something crazy like that. Like I bet tickets weren't even $10. And you know, like there's all these fucking, you know, like I found one tape like Christians on it from 1996, you know, and like,
jeez,
you know, just like he was just a random indie wrestler though then, and like there's just all this, you know, there's like CM Punk footage and, you know, all this stuff, and it's just like you have to think about that. There was no other revenue stream, like there was no video revenue stream, there was no, it was just a ticket, you know what I mean? Like, and then this is how they paid everybody. So I don't know, like went off on a little bit of a tangent on that, but that's kind of what I've been working on in my free time, is just kind of trying to get this stuff like preserved, because it's just like JT, like before JT died, he was like, you know, he was starting to like, you know, talk to us about stuff like this, and he wanted to, like he had like you know, boxes of these fucking random ass tapes all over his house, and you know, around the time he got sick or something, like I can't remember the exact time frame, but there was like a flood in his basement, and like all this shit just got destroyed, you know, because it's tape, you know, it's not like they weren't even discs, you know, like DVD discs. They were physical like VHS tapes or like mini DV tapes, and a lot of it just got destroyed.
So they got ruined.
Yeah, destroyed in a flood. So like so much footage is lost. Like there's a weekend from like 1996 that Edge wrestled on. He wrestled in Cleveland All Pro 3 times. I've been digging through these tapes. I've yet to find it. The footage may be destroyed forever. I don't know if anybody has that tape out there, but like there's like, I have like a part 2 of one of the shows, but like he had already wrestled, you know, so like I've not yet found that footage, but I found like some crazy Cactus Jack footage from like 1995 wrestling at I'm pretty sure the Brook Park Armory.
Wow.
You know, and like I put that up on YouTube, and like I don't know, I put it on my Facebook. I don't know if I put it anywhere else, but like there's just like the hard cam is running, and you know, it's intermission, and Cactus Jack McFoley like does in-ring meet and greet, and like it lasts 3 minutes. Like it's just like a couple people like get their picture with Cactus Jack in the ring, because it's like 1995, and then like you know, he was in WCW, but you know, up until that point he wasn't all that famous, and then like you think like a year later he's like feuding with the Undertaker.
That's so crazy. And then you think about it now too. You know, I didn't discover who Mick Foley was till he was in, you know, WWE. But like I've seen all the deathmatch stuff from Japan and all. Like
it's all like right in that time frame. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's probably right in that time frame. He's like going over there doing that shit, and then he comes here, and there's like 5 people that want to meet him. Like,
it's crazy. It's like
just so
the whole video is like 3 minutes. of like his whole
That's wild.
intermission meet and greet. And just like, I don't know, finding stuff like that, I think super cool, like for the history of, just Cleveland independent wrestling. I may be the only fucking person that cares about it. I don't know, but like, I'm enjoying that as like a bit of, a hobby to kind of keep me engaged because, I was feeling like pretty burnt out last year just on everything that's been going on and like just the ups and downs with, the attendances and all that. So like, I've just started working on this project, I don't know, like a month or two ago. And like, it's kind of helped, rejuvenate me a little bit.
Yeah, it's something nice to kind of like keep you working and motivated so you don't get in like a slump, but at the same time it's different than AIW, so you know what I mean? It
right,
gives you
it's
a
like
break, but
it's different. Like AIW is like, we all love AIW, but like sometimes like for me, like it's great to like be able to kind of check out for a minute and like clear my brain because like it's all that goes on in my brain is like AIW like 24 hours a day. So like it's nice to like just be like, oh, what is, what's on this, this weird tape from like, like for example, let me see here, because I have a bunch of tapes here, like June 13th, 2004, PC Lover versus the Bouncer. Like, instantly when I saw that labeled on the tape, I popped that right in, so like,
yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I mean, I was gonna say too, and the thing with AIW is like with our last year is I feel like we had a lot of high highs, but there was like low lows as well. It was like up and down a lot because, between attendance or even there were some shows that were attended well, but then we had, other stuff going on where that was like heavy to deal with. There's just a lot going on, and then you had personal stuff going on, so it was like there was just up and down, last year, and I think this year we're trying to.
Yeah, we're just trying to get
track with everything.
Yeah, we're just trying to get back in the routine because one of the big things that we discussed is, it felt like 2019, and we've mentioned it on this podcast. It felt like 2019 was just like a banner year for AIW, and we were just really clicking on all cylinders. And then COVID happened, and it just derailed everything. And like that first show back in Cleveland just dropped. It was like almost 500 days. In between, from when we had a show in the Cleveland area. So like just so much time was just like stopped and momentum was stopped. And, it just, it takes a while to get the train moving again. We've had, and don't get me wrong, we had some great moments in that kind of, the comeback, year and a half, 2 years, but there were some bad moments mixed in there too. And it's just like, makes you realize that it's not always a guarantee that we're going to knock it out of the park. It's not a guarantee that people are going to come support us. And that's really kind of, why some of us got together Saturday is like, how can we continue to like do everything in our power to make sure that people are coming to these shows? Because like, I know people don't like the doom and gloom and all that shit, but like the reality is like an independent wrestling company could die in a day, like especially AIW, like one bad day is all it takes. And, you can't pay people and that's it. So, we were just kind of like trying to, let's get ahead of things. Like let's, Chase Oliver is like, he started it off. He's like, let's list every negative that we can think of for the company. And then he's like, let's list every positive that happened, and then, we kind of, set goals and things. It's not really something that I've ever participated in because it's just like, everyone just looks at me and then I say, we're doing this or we're doing that, and like, it was kind of like an interesting,
right,
approach to where and you got to give Chase Oliver credit for that, to where he was like, let's list everybody in this room, like let's list something negative that you think happened this year, and now let's list everything positive and then it was just this like really kind of like goal oriented, like I don't know, it gave like a 360 view in different perspectives for me to see for the first time. So I think it was pretty, I would hate to like misuse this word, but it's pretty enlightening, I guess, for me, because it was just I never see the positives. Like I only see the negatives, and the negatives, is kind of where I live, because I always want it to get better, and I'm always so scared that it's gonna all fall apart. So, it was, I thought it was good, and, I thought it was good for us to kind of, sit down and, come up with these goals, and, getting back on track with this podcast is definitely one of the goals.
Yeah, it's just, calling it out, I guess, or like you said, having the accountability, having that meeting was great. I think it was very effective in all aspects. So, yeah, I thought a lot of the good things came out of that day for sure.
Yeah, and we'll just see where things go, and I guess the big thing and the big positive was, we were able to end the year on like such an incredibly high note with nearly 700 people paid at the temple on December 29th, when that was such a difficult show to get off the ground, and like we didn't know what we were walking into. In December, at the temple, attendance wise and all that stuff. And like we said, all we can really do is look at the Ticketmaster and, filter tickets and try to guesstimate how many are left. And, we had no idea, GA or any of that. Like, we get nothing until we show up there. So, for it to be, I think it was 652 or something like that. Like, and even the temple was just like, we have never seen a day of surge in ticket sales like we saw today. And so that certainly impressed them, because, I think, obviously I think our relationship with them it's good, but it's definitely a little fractured based on, just things that have happened at shows that we did there. This one is certainly included. But, and there were people calling and trying to get them to cancel the show and things like that. So they were like...
I was going to ask if you're going to mention it.
Yeah, I mean, but because that's all context for the story is,
yeah,
they were very much on just high alert for whatever reason, because, some guy or multiple guys kept calling and trying to get them to cancel us. And, we were just like, we have no idea what you're talking about. And it was kind of a weird thing, but, so then when that main event's going off, they were certainly not happy with, how chaotic it was at the temple. And, we didn't break anything or, but, we certainly had to have long Pedro, especially long conversations with them. Hey, you have to trust us. And, I think, I think we're good, I think if we can continue to, perform and people come out and support the way that they did, I think we certainly will, continue the relationship there. But, that was way above anybody's expectations of what the attendance would be, mine included. I was hopeful. I was hopeful we would get 400, and so to get
much surpass that.
Yeah. So to get 652 or whatever it is. And then, when you have staff and wrestlers and all that stuff in there, well over 700 people in there. And, it made for a super cool atmosphere.
I don't really want to touch on it too much to give whoever did it, their little hello, but it's so funny. They said that we came on this podcast and said we were going to destroy the building, as to how stupid of criminals could we be? Let's document that we're going to do crime. It was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. Why would we come on our own podcast and say we're going to destroy a venue, one that we enjoy, right, and like working with a lot? we
would never intentionally do that at any venue, let alone, like you said, premeditate it and document it and put it out into the world. That's just crazy, and it's just but you just don't know. 'Cause these venues, they deal with bands, so it's just like,
Yeah,
they got 4 guys coming in for a band, like they don't understand the, indie wrestling drama, so we're just like, dude, like we have no idea what you're talking about. Like, here's a copy of our insurance. Like, like what, like we're not going to break anything in here. And so during that main event, those phone calls certainly, weighed a little heavier on them. And they started thinking like, oh, maybe that person was right. So
here it goes. Yeah.
So,
oh, man.
We were hit with, some rules and regulations, and it was just really a communication thing, I guess, when it was all said and done. But, at the end of the day, they were pretty happy. People were drinking. There was a lot more people in there than they thought. They tried to move us to the small room like the day before they even looked at the Ticketmaster tickets. Like I think they just didn't think that it was going to do what it did. And, that is a credit to everybody, all the fans, like everybody coming together and really just trying to, to make it a big event, because, we all wanted it to be a big event, and, we felt like it was a big event, but you never know until people show up or not. And, I was very ecstatic that we exceeded all expectations on that front.
Definitely. You want to get into the show a little bit? Was there, there was a lot on the plate that stuck out for me, but was there anything that really jumped out at you about the show? I mean, there was some wild shit going on all night. Just speaking of it.
Yeah, I mean, really just honestly, like when you exceed expectations as far as ticket sales go, like there's like the show, in my opinion, can really do no wrong. Like unless it is just an absolute atrocity that is in the ring, which did not happen. Like it's everything that happens after you get, that many people into a venue. Like it's a downhill run, so to speak, at that point. Like, everybody's going to deliver when they see a crowd like that and they feel that energy. And the crowd was loud all night. That was another thing. Like everybody was into it. And it just, you saw everybody feed off of that energy. I mean, I think everything, delivered to over-delivered in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, the card was stacked as hell. And then, like you said, people see, the wrestlers are back there, they're looking through the curtain. They're seeing how many people are out there. I mean, it was loud all night. Yeah, there was really no point in which, there was any lull too. It was just like the crowd was so hot. And that's what's the one thing that's so, great about that building is like, man, people have their gripes about the temple and, the staffing, whatever, anything they only have hot dogs or whatever the people want to complain about. But when you get a lot of people in that building, man, it is in an electric atmosphere, and it is just such a cool room. It's so loud. It looks cool as hell. You know what I mean? And it really rocks in there.
Yeah, and like that's the thing is like I fucking love that venue. Like I think it's big time when you do a show in that room at that venue. Right on. I don't know if you would even call it downtown Cleveland or the outskirts of downtown Cleveland, but I call it downtown Cleveland, and it just feels big. It feels bigger when you're in that venue, and it just. When there's enough people in there to where it looks respectable, it just feels even bigger. Like people that were at J-Lit night one knows what it looks like when there's not, and it just it kills the energy, it kills the vibe. Like all that stuff is a contributing factor in the show. Like the wrestlers are going to do their best to do their job, but when you have a big crowd that's loud, like it just ramps everything way up.
Yeah, it really does. It's definitely noticeable. Like you said, for anyone that was there for J-Lit to tonight, tonight, the last show, that it's electric in there for sure. Man, speaking of the 5-on-5 at the end, that was had Pedro freaking out and everyone freaking out. Yeah, if you have not yet watched it, you got to get on Triller TV and watch that match, because there was just so much shit going on. They went all the way to the top up there, and Chuck hit Eric with some move up there, I forget, but there was a 2 count. Everyone from the floor was like, oh, it was only, you couldn't even see him pin, the shoulders down, but Coach was up there for the pin count. It was great. That match is one that I think about, that I think I'll be, people will be talking about for a while, because there hasn't been a big, 5-on-5, since like Absolution a couple years ago. I think there was a big 5-on-5 right when Cash is King first got together. I think that they had that big 5-on-5. Maybe it wasn't Abso, but it's been a minute.
It was I think there was a 5-on-5 at Absolution, because that's where Sam did the big run up dive thing for the first time. Okay, yeah. But yeah, this was way crazier, way crazier, and I just thought it was like a cool, it was just like I don't know, like everything just hit on the show. I really liked it. I know that there were some issues with the stream. We did send them a replacement file, because some stuff started dropping out. I don't know if Kaplan and Joey knocked a cord loose or something, because like right at the end of their match, some things like started kind of like skipping around, and it happens through the Vikingo match and a little bit in the main event as well. But Chase Oliver did send in a replacement file. I have not looked and checked to see if they've updated it or not, but just putting that out there for anybody that was looking, because I know a couple of people asked if we were gonna send a complete file so they could see that whole Vikingo match and main event. So fingers crossed that they have updated that.
I'm pretty sure they did, because I'm pretty sure I saw a GIF of the spot with Gringo tossing Vikingo, because I know that was dropped. That was one of the big things that somebody had said, that had dropped out of the stream, and that was one of the craziest things I've seen in a while. That was a friggin' sick move, and I want to say that I did see a GIF of it, so I'm pretty sure it has been fixed. And I know we'd recently said, a couple of the shows that people were looking for. I know Chase said that the Wadsworth show, a couple of people were asking about that with the cage match between Mikey and Eric. Chase did say that he has that; it's all ready to go. He should be getting that up shortly.
Yeah, and just again, Chase dealt with a crazy injury. Obviously his girlfriend, had a brain tumor and surgery. So he had to deal with a lot of that. So things like that. It's just, I get it that people want to see this content and consume this content, especially since. Not a lot of AIW regulars were at that show, but you gotta cut them a little slack on that.
Oh yeah, I had said that, and we've said that many times on here, but I just asked him. I wanted to put it out there because I did ask him, and I even kind of felt, he's like, oh yeah, and I'm getting to it. I said, hey, no, bro, we know, bro. People had been asking, so I wanted to put it out there, and he mentioned that it's going to be coming soon. Not enough good things can be said about Chase. That was something I wanted to say earlier, too, when we were talking about the meeting, how you said that with Chase. I feel like now that we're doing our own production and, being forced to do our own production and do everything like that, it's helping us keep accountability on so much, now that we have to be responsible for so much shit, having meetings like that, and Chase has taken on so much work and responsibility, and the dude just, I really, like I said, I can't say enough good things about the guy, because he really kills it, and he's got a lot on his plate, but he's still really doing everything he can, so I just want to say I appreciate Chase.
And he loves it. Like, he really enjoys the production.
Oh, yeah. You can see it in the way that he tries to get other people involved. He likes it so much that he wants everyone to like it the amount that he does, so we can bring you this just fucking well-oiled just machine that is AIW. That's how badly, and I know we've talked about how sometimes he's a little sensitive or whatever, testy back there. But it's only because he wants it to be perfect for everyone. He wants to bring you the best AIW that we can, and that's why he's so passionate and on it so much back there, because he wants this. He knows what we can be. I think he sees the potential in what we have and what we, like you said, what we were prior to the pandemic and what we could get back to being. And I think that's why he's so, passionate about.
He's certainly a lot more optimistic than I am. I'll say that. He's he's very optimistic, and he certainly believes in the company and believes in what we have the capabilities to do. So, and anytime, I don't even know how people can support Chase Oliver. I don't even know if he has merch, but any way you could support this guy, do it, because I mean he does a lot of this stuff for just to do it, just for experience, just to learn. He's very he's very just passionate about all this stuff. So
absolutely,
you gotta support him any way you can, or at least give him props, thank him. You know what I mean? He puts a lot of time into all this stuff to make sure that you're able to consume this product in various different ways. He's live streaming all the stuff. He's putting together those promo reels. He's making those trailers. He's doing so much. He's got so much on his plate. So gotta just give him kind of a shout out for everything he does. And it does look like I did just put on the Terror of the Temple stream. It does look like the new file has been uploaded because I'm seeing no skips in this Vikingo match right now. So please go and rewatch Terror at the Temple on Triller TV Plus, as it is called now. Let's get those numbers up.
Honestly, especially for some of our regulars, I don't know if some of the regulars do go back and watch, but the show that you're getting on the stream is much different than the live. I love the live experience. There's nothing that beats being at professional wrestling live with the crowd and how hot it was, especially at the last Temple show. But the camera views, and especially this last Temple show, we didn't have some of the promos and stuff in between. But yeah, Chase is putting all kinds of stuff, promos, video, and vignettes and stuff in between that you don't get when you're there live. So definitely go back and check out these shows and stream them, because even if you're just doing, I put them on when I'm doing stuff around the house. I'll put that on and I'll just you glance over every once in a while, watch for a few minutes, keep doing what you're doing. It goes a lot farther than you think.
And that's one thing that we discussed, was making the streaming experience a little bit more like a television broadcast, and anybody that watched Gauntlet this year kind of saw that as, there were promos and different things happening, and he wants to incorporate more stuff like that. Obviously, sometimes you just don't have the time, because all that stuff is things filmed. Sometimes, he is filming promos as people are finding their seats and then trying to edit them together to then play on the stream at certain points. It's like it's a really tight window, and sometimes you just run out of time. But that was one thing that he wants to do, is make more of these streams a little different than the live experience. So if somebody comes live, they experience one thing, and then they can go home and they can watch it on Triller, and they can experience some other things, or get some context. Like at Boogie Nights, for example, Tom and Josh cut that tag team promo. Now the live crowd caught on to it without seeing that promo, but the viewers on Triller Plus, like, they didn't need to catch on. They knew exactly what those guys were up to because they saw the promo on the stream. If that makes sense.
Yeah, right. I was going to say it's info. It's almost like how we were talking about when you go to the Browns game. When you're down at the Browns game, you don't hear any of the injuries or anything. When you watch it on TV, they're telling you all this info. It's similar to AIW, especially like you said, when Chase has time to put this stuff in there, because they're editing stuff. I mean, some of these promos and some of the stuff is done right there. Yeah, before as people are taking their seats, he's got people in the hey, go film this, and then they get it. He edits it right there and gets it on the stream. It's incredible.
Yeah, so, that was really the big thing, was, just kind of getting, getting things on track for, how we can make AIW stand out a little bit more, or be a little bit different, like just, I don't know how to explain it, but, I do feel like we are probably, always are one of the more undervalued, I guess, on the big scale independent wrestling companies, for what we produce and what we put out there. So, we're just trying to continue to, throw everything at the wall, so to speak, and see, if some things can stick and, we can gain some viewers and grow the fan base.
One way to do that, and I know I kind of wanted to say this earlier, but I do want to put the call out there. If you know anyone in the greater Northeast Ohio kind of area with a bar or kind of hall area that wants to do, we really trying to get back to these Thursday shows. And if that's somebody, somebody with a bar or something like that, somewhere where we can, start running our Thursday shows again, please contact Jim at aiwrestling.com. Anybody, any clue or whatever lead helps trying to find a Thursday home for us.
Yeah, because, and that's really...
Then again, that's even more content we can put out.
Yeah, content and, development of new talents and characters. And that was another thing that, when the Winchester kind of went away, that was really starting to click in, the realm of, developing new students. And then we were also able to bring in other talents that we normally wouldn't bring in. I just got Kaplan versus Hoodfoot ready to put on YouTube, for example. That was a Winchester headliner match. There was all kinds of, you were able to do things with different talents on those shows, and it allowed us to get a little bit more creative. So yeah, we're still trying, we did the one Halloween show at the Mercury Music Lounge. Still giving it a shot to try to get back in there. Someone just gave me another number to contact, somebody there. Because it's just like, it's like multiple third parties, like Jeff from corporate is talking to some other guy that like knows a guy there that like then, they want to talk to this other guy that works there. And then, then they got to talk to the owner guy that goes there. So I'm trying to cut out the middlemen, and, I contacted the owner. I haven't heard back yet, but I got his direct contact. So, we're just trying to, we're trying to lock down some dates. We would love to do Cybernetico again if we can find a place like that. Just, there's a lot of things that are kind of, up on the vision board, but we need some things to fall into place, I guess.
Yeah. So like I said, putting the call out there, if anybody knows, anything like that, hey, get in touch, Jim at AI Wrestling. Or if you'd like to sponsor, if you have a brand or you have any type of partnership that, you would like to partner with AIW, like you said, well, we plan on doing this podcast a lot more. We did live streaming. We put 700 people in a building last month, and we could put up banners, that type of stuff, something with your logo on there. So we did have, we've had, if you own like a brand or something like a clothing label, we had some people in the lobby selling their merch. We have vendor space available. If you're a vendor, you got wrestling dolls and stuff like that, anything you want to sell. If you're a vendor, get in touch with Jim at aiwrestling.com and we'll find space for you somewhere.
Yeah, which, got to give a shout out to the sponsor for Eye for an Eye coming up next month in Akron, Gorilla Press Clothing, which is, the people behind Sick Things have, they've launched a new alternative brand that's going to be more wrestling centric and wrestling focused. And they are sponsoring Eye for an Eye this February. So, give Gorilla Press find them on social media. You can see them all over we're retweeting their stuff, but they will be in the house on February the 3rd, and they are sponsoring Eye for an Eye, which, it needs to be mentioned, Stan Hansen is coming to town, which is super.
Yeah, we
rare.
didn't get to that yet. Yeah, because I saw somebody else say something. They said, "Oh, he's at conventions every week," and it was like, "Well, not in Ohio, dude. He doesn't come here every week."
They're like, because it says a rare appearance by Stan Hansen, and someone's like, "He does a convention every week. How's that rare?" I said, "He does conventions every week in Akron, Ohio." Like, I don't know of him ever being in this area, like ever. Like, not since he was he probably wrestled here when he was an active wrestler in 1987, but he's never, to my knowledge, done any sort of like autograph or meet and greet appearance anywhere remotely near Akron, Ohio. So it is super rare. Guy that commented on the AW Facebook, it's super fucking rare for Stan Hansen to be doing a meet and greet. And, not for nothing, he's not going to be doing this for much longer. Based on our phone conversation, he's really kind of winding down the meet and greets. So you don't want to miss your opportunity to meet Stan Hansen on February the 3rd. I mean, I'm super pumped for it. I know, I know a lot of guys, internally are super pumped for it. I mean, the man knocked fucking Big Van Vader's eyeball out of his head. He hit him so hard. How can you not want to come take a photo with that guy?
Yeah, it's like one of the top coolest things. Like when you hit like real friggin' like tough guy shit, that story always comes to mind. You know what I mean? Like that's like up there on the echelon of like tough guy shit. The man knocked Vader, one of the toughest dudes around, and God, that picture of his eye just dangling, it's one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen. God, one
of the toughest guys around and one of the biggest eaters at an Applebee's I've ever seen in my life. Big Van Vader.
What's his go-to? What's Vader's go-to at Applebee's?
He got like 3 meals when we were there. I was like, dude, we gotta go. The show is starting soon. He's like, oh, can I get the fish and chips? We're like, I don't even think they have that here. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
He's got to get a riblet basket to go.
I shit you not. Like, I'm sure like we recorded a podcast about that incident around that time. If we were doing the podcast, I'm sure we've covered it like in the Chandler era. But I shit you not, this dude ordered 2 or 3 full fucking meals at an Applebee's at like as soon as he got off the flight. I was just like, brother, we gotta go. Like, come on. Like he ate, like we all get the meal, then he gets another one, and then like he
You're
eats
like,
that.
Wait a minute, he's ordering again.
And then he's like the fish and chips, and I was like, I don't think that's on the menu. Like we gotta fucking go. It's 4:00. Like we gotta drive to this venue. Doors open at 6, and then he was just there for a meet and greet, and he's just like, how about you book me against Samoa Joe tonight? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Was Samoa Joe on the card?
He was, but like he was in the main event. Vader was trying to pull some moves, and he's like, we've never wrestled before, it'll be big. And I was like, motherfucker, I know you wrestled him before in like Jersey All Pro in like 2004 or something, but nonetheless, tough guy shit. Fucking Stan Hansen knocked his fucking eyeball out. And, how can you not come and meet that guy? You know what I mean? Like, super rare, much to the chagrin of the man on Facebook that commented.
Internet guy.
commented on the AW Facebook post about Stan coming to town. Super rare, come out, support it. Pedro's really been pushing me for Stan Hansen for a long time. He thinks that it could be like a Harley Race-esque type of meet and greet line, to where, everybody comes out of the woodwork to meet him. Which, Stan Hansen and Harley Race, legends, in their own respect, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, Pedro is convinced, though, that, like, it is going to be, it's going to be, people are going to come out to see Stan Hansen, and I hope so. I mean, front row sold out like instantly. We have,
that's what I was going to say.
We have only a couple second rows and third rows left already. So, hopefully, that is continues to trend in that way. And Pedro was right, but you got to come out and support on February 3rd, and I'll break it here. For those people who are, have been, following AIW, Shelby Wilder will be returning to the ring on February the 3rd.
Yeah, hell yeah, all right.
So that's a little breaking news for the podcast. I don't know if that's going to just send tickets over, just over the limit, but I know that a lot of people who were at the Halloween show were super concerned about his injury and all that. He is cleared to return to the ring on February the 3rd, so he will be in action. So, you're going to want to come out and, give him a warm welcome, because I'm certain it's going to be very emotional. Luckily it turned out to not be as serious as he initially thought. He at that moment in time, he thought he may never walk again, let alone wrestle again. Luckily, it was just kind of, a freak accident thing, and those symptoms quickly went away. But I hope everybody kind of comes out and gives him a big, warm welcome for his return to the ring.
Yeah, I mean, he's from close to that area, not exactly Akron, but I know he's from somewhere down there. And there's definitely been a lot of people, asking about him. I feel like he had a hot rookie year. He IWTV Guide Rookie of the Year winner, Shelby Wilder. So I know there's
right?
definitely some support.
Right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, Shelby Wilder.
Wow.
So I know I know there's definitely some support for Shelby. So maybe not going crazy tipping the ticket scales, but definitely be some tickets purchased for Mr. Wilder.
I was unaware that he was the Rookie of the Year.
Well, you don't pay much attention to these other podcasts.
I don't pay much attention to anything. I'm not gonna.
Well, right. That's my point. That's what I'm here for. I listen to all the
Rookie
pods.
of
I know
the
what's
Year.
Who else would you put on the list of AIW rookies this year?
Tyler Jordan, Dex Royal, Shelby Wilder. I don't know. I mean, Rookie of the Year. I'm not trying to bring the mood. I'm not trying to bring the mood down about his return, but I was just a little caught off guard by this award that he's received.
Oh, that's funny.
Alex Melee, come on.
So there was a lot of AIW rookies that came into the fold this year that impressed a lot of people. Like I said
I'm an Alex
many
Melee
times.
Guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think playing from the leaderboard.
Oh, I love him. Makes me a little uncomfortable with those sunglasses he wears indoors at all times. Makes me feel a little uneasy, but I love him.
He's always wearing those shades, and he comes through the curtain, and he's looking at the video game screen. I don't think he realizes it's time to wrestle yet. He's still so locked in on the goddamn Nintendo Switch or whatever DS he's playing.
Game Gear.
Yeah. Oh man, they should bring Game Gear back.
Game Gear. Yeah, I'm a Alex Melee guy for sure. Shelby Wilder, wow, Rookie of the Year. Can we get? Yeah. I need to call for a recount.
We should start doing our own award show. Then we'll get the real awards.
Anybody goes to that wrestling school, they know I'm not giving out any awards. Giving out the merits.
We're having a review and everyone's in trouble.
It's time for your year in review. You all fucking suck. Do better. Sweep up after the shows. Do fucking what you're supposed to.
I had to. There was a newer student at the end of the show. Pedro was looking for students, and I think they were kind of newer. They didn't really know. They were kind of a little unsure of themselves. They didn't know what. And Pedro's going, "Where is the student? I need a student." And I look over him. I go, "That's you, right? You're a student here." He goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Raise your fucking hand, dude. That's you. You're a student. He's looking for you."
Oh, you mean wrestling students are socially awkward and not willing to step up in a time of need? I'm shocked by this news.
We're giving out demerits on this podcast.
Demerits. We should have recorded on Festivus. I got a lot of grievances to fucking let known about that wrestling school.
Air them, dude. Air the grievances. I'm always down for airing of grievances.
I got a lot of problem with you people.
This wrestling practice isn't over until somebody pins Thorne.
Well, I mean, I need a little time to train before that. I could definitely pin fucking Rookie of the Year Shelby Wilder, I'll tell you that.
That's any of those moves. You hit the Duke with a lariat at the one Wrestle Rager that we watched back. I think at one of the Rumbles when we went over to Duke's house and watched the Rumble, we watched it back, and everyone was like, "Jesus Christ, you tried to kill him."
You ever see that one I gave Swoggle, that one Absolution, or I had to wrestle?
Maybe that was it. Yeah,
wrestle on fucking 25 minutes notice.
Yeah, because didn't he just he demanded it had to be you, right? Wasn't that the story?
I don't remember how it went down, but
see, that's why we need Biggins. His mind was a steel trap.
Dude,
the man
Biggins
remembers everything.
Biggins remembered everything. Biggins could remember like what I had for lunch, like on January 9th, 2008. Like he remembered everything.
He would have known what Vader, all 3 entrees Vader ordered at Applebee's immediately.
He wasn't there. He actually was not there.
If he was, he would have remembered.
It was myself and Vader and new viral WWE sensation Yaquin Wild. that was the Applebee's crew for the Vader triple lunch that day.
That was wild. Yeah, that recent clip that has went viral.
It went wild.
Yeah.
It went wild. Good for him though.
And then somebody posted the one from Mount Carmel because he did a pretty similar. I don't think it was as high or whatever, but it was similar spot, and he fucking launched.
He replied to me on Twitter, and he said he like invented that concept at Mount Carmel, at Absolution. What he did was he jumped off of Steve Payne's back, and like Steve Payne like stood up when he was on the back to give him the spring. And like he goes pretty far. It's like I want to say like Absolution 12 or 13, whatever is Steve Payne's debut, AIW debut. It's that match. He does it.
3XL Steve Payne. That's for wealth.
Maybe I'll find that match and I'll put it on YouTube this week. But yeah, he good for him. It was he's been at it for fucking. For a long time, and for him to finally kind of get a little bit of that recognition, I was very happy for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you really want to point out from this last, Terror at the Temple? There was a lot that happened. Big thanks to all the fans, really. Just want to say that again. Big thanks to everyone that came out. Big, like you said, the surge of tickets that day was just huge. We just really appreciate all the support.
I think they said, like, we sold, like, 178 tickets that afternoon.
Wow.
Like, he was like, I've never seen anything like this with a day of rush like this. But, I mean...
It's Cleveland in that walk-up, dude. I'm telling you. We always have a strong walk-up.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, honestly. So we are, and we're going to try to space out the temple appearances. We kind of came up with like a every other month sort of schedule. We're obviously taking January off just to give everybody a little bit of time to refresh, recharge, and all that stuff. So tentatively the plan right now is to return to the temple in late March. So it'll be a little while, and then kind of to alternate between Akron and Cleveland, as the year goes on. But things always change, with everything. So we do have like a light tentative plan for 2024, and then we'll see what happens. Hopefully that plan stays into place, but we're trying to just kind of space it all out, you know what I mean? Like 1 month here, so like, because there are people that only come in Cleveland, and there are people that only go in Akron, and there are people that go to both, but we're trying to kind of space it to where it's not as overwhelming. The tricky part is if we do add in those Thursdays, the plan would be we would only do them on months we're in Akron, so like if we're in Akron, you can expect, something like a bar show sort of thing in the Cleveland area, but we've yet to set anything up, but that's tentatively kind of the the logic in my brain right now.
Right, yeah, like essentially it wouldn't be, 2 Cleveland shows. If we did get those Thursdays back, it would be more of like, opposite kind of,
Right, so like, so those people that don't go to Akron would get, some sort of, some sort of AIW consumption if they wish.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to cover here? I know we're kind of an off week here as far as what we normally do with the
what are we going to
with the hard sell type stuff?
New Year's resolutions for AIW. I don't know what to call it. I mean, we just have a lot of we had a lot of kind of plans or whatever. Just it was good to have like an organizational sort of, get together to where, we could try to get more people on the same page because, it's tough to get things on the same page. And, even when you have everybody in the room, people do disagree with things. And, but I thought it was, I thought it was kind of good to kind of get that, kind of base layer, foundation for AIW in 2024. The thing that's crazy is like, I've just been doing this for so long, and it never is like a routine or easy or like, all right, here we go. Like, here's another year. You know what I mean? Like, it's always an uphill sort of battle. But I think that's just like, unless you're like fucking super famous, that's just the name of the game when it comes to the entertainment business. It's, it's a wave, it's up and down and, ebbs and flows. But I really do have some optimism for 2024. And a lot of that has to do with that huge crowd that came to the temple to close the year out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would think that, saying that, it's never going to be easy because I don't think you just coast. I don't think AIW's ever just been like, all right, well, just, pick 10 people, we'll put them on a show and we'll just throw a show together. I think AIW as a whole is always striving to get better and bigger and, do more. And I think we showed that in recent years of, getting our own equipment and doing all the production our own and just doing the Patreon, everything, just trying to make this as great for everyone as we can. I don't think, it's never going to be easy because we're not just sitting on our asses,
Yeah. Right. And it's just like, it's just never is easy, and it's just, we're always trying to improve things and it's just like everybody wants it to succeed so much. And, I do feel like it is imperative to have independent wrestling, that is good in every, major market in America. I think it just does so much for, just wrestling fans, wrestlers. Like, it's just such a kind of irreplaceable thing for like, the wrestling economy, so to speak, and not only just like monetarily, but, getting people ready to get to that next level and, preparing them. And, there's just, there's so much that is important about independent wrestling. And, I really like thought about this the one day, and it's just like, because people are always like, well, why don't you guys, tour or do any of this stuff? Like, I never wanted to really be like a major wrestling promotion. Like, I just wanted to be the major wrestling promotion in Northeast Ohio. Like, I think that's just, I just wanted to be independent wrestling. And, going back and watching these Cleveland All Pro tapes, it's just like, this is why, because like, that was like for so many people, like that was like the end all be all for your, for your month or whatever was going to one of these, Cleveland All Pro events, or sometimes there was a Saturday and a Sunday double shot, like stuff like that. And it's just like, that's all I ever wanted to be, was just, I wanted to be the biggest thing in this area, because I think it's important to have something like, that is good and matters in every area. You know what I mean? Like, there should be something, just as cool in Columbus or in, Detroit or Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Like, there should be, one destination independent everywhere. And that's all I really ever wanted to be. And, going back and watching this Cleveland All Pro stuff is like really kind of like made me realize that, because it's easy to kind of get caught up in like the current, like, why is this person wrestling there? Or why is this company getting this? Or, like, it's easy to get like in that, that compare and contrast game. Mm-hmm. And like, at the end of the day, it's just like, that's just like competitiveness in, I think, people. But all I ever wanted to be was like the cool thing in Northeast Ohio. And like, I think we're doing that. And I think we're going to be able to maintain that. And we can grow that, like we can, there's millions of people around here, like there's plenty of fans to pull from, like we don't have to leave to go find them. Like
Right.
I really believe in the kind of like, build it and they will come sort of, mantra or whatever. And that's, and I think it's easy for us to all, get kind of, these different ideas and like just get caught up in this comparison game, and it's just like, that's not what we were ever going to be. And that's not what we ever tried to be. We never tried to be a big touring company, that's just not what I've never had any interest really in leaving for weeks at a time, so, or like every weekend being gone. So I think that was a good part of the meeting, is to kind of like sit down and like everybody get on the same page with that, and like kind of like, let's block out all this other noise. Let's focus on Northeast Ohio. That's our bread and butter. That's where we exist. That's where we're going to continue to exist. And let's make sure we are the only thing that is, thriving and existing, because we spent so long being the only thing in the scene. Let's continue to grow the scene, and grow our base. So, I think that was kind of a good thing to get everybody on the same page about this week. We do have a couple questions in the Discord as well.
Oh, okay. Did we get some? I just checked a minute ago.
Yeah, we got a couple.
Well, here we go. Hercules says, "Is Matt Cardona coming back to town anytime soon?" They're apparently asking for a friend.
I've talked to him a little bit. There's no dates tentatively as of right now. It's just like he's such a dynamic and polarizing guy. Sometimes it's good for him to go away for a while and then come back. We stay in contact, but he currently does not have any upcoming AIW dates as of this recording.
Okay. They were also curious, with AIW being almost 20 years old, do you have any thoughts putting together maybe like a Hall of Fame type thing for any like notable alumni? Is there anything you would ever think about that?
No, I mean, this is like something that people have presented over the years, but it's just, I mean, what are we the Hall of Fame of? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go to the AIW Hall of Fame building and like look at pictures of, Hornswoggle hanging on the wall. You
got to go to your office for that to see the Hornswoggle pictures hanging out.
Right. I mean, like I think a lot of that stuff is just like, this is no disrespect to anybody that does it, but I think a lot of it's just like self-serving, like ego-driven bullshit. Like I don't think that AIW is like worthy of having a Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like we spend the majority of this podcast talking how we're virtually like going bankrupt and out of business. So like, like I just think that's silly to be like, oh, okay, like let me give you this printed out piece of paper that says you're an AIW Hall of Famer. Like
a plaque.
Getting the AIW Hall of Fame emblem on your license plate or something is not going to get you out of any trouble. So like, I don't know. I think it's no. Like, and to be honest, like a lot of people aren't in AIW anymore because I don't probably fucking like them that much to be. So like, like what am I going to honor them for? Like, hey man, it was cool knowing you in 2008. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm very much like a forward thinker when it comes to AIW. I hate like, like contradictory to what I'm saying about like the Cleveland All Pro stuff. Like, I hate like the remember when AIW stuff. Like, when I run into like some guy that like was, in AIW in its infancy and they're just like, hey man, remember this and that? And like, yeah, I do. But like, I've also run 200 shows or something since that happened. Like it's not that fond of a memory for me.
It's like that guy from high school that you see. It's like the token guy. You see him, and every time you see that guy, just brings up shit back from, remember when we did this? And you're like, yeah, but I'm fucking 40 now. I have, 20 years of memories on top of that, bro. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I mean, and like, it does happen sometimes, and it's just like so awkward because it's just like, I mean, I'm still doing it, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but like I'm still fucking doing it, dude. Say. Like, maybe maybe that is just like, an indictment on myself. But like at the end of the day, I'm still fucking doing it. Like, so yeah, like that's cool that's your memory that you had for 2 years of your life, but like I'm still doing it, and I'm trying to do it at a decently high level, in comparison to that time, especially that time, that era. It's like you cannot compare it. Like that's what offends me the most is like, hey, remember this? And it's just like, yeah, dude, but like we've had like 20 people go on to like be in the WWE or something since then. Like it's just like I don't know, like so. That's a long way of saying like no, like I have no interest in like honoring or like bringing up any of that stuff. Like at most, like that's what this podcast, that's what we'll do on this podcast sometimes. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just not really like have any interest in that, and like I also don't know if I should celebrate that I've even been doing this for 20 years either, like so like it's just a double-edged sword as far as I'm concerned. Right. I just talked about how I feel very motivated, and that question made me feel very unmotivated and depressed. So
yeah, well, thanks a lot. No, I'm just kidding. Appreciate the question, Hercules. We're coming in from Sean. Any chance of a Nemeth Brothers appearance at AIW? I know kind of a lot of people were kind of curious about that. They had looked like they had popped into the school, and Derek had posted a picture with them. So I'm sure it was maybe on a lot of people's minds, about the Nemeth Brothers.
Yeah, I mean,
probably hard now that Dolph has shown up in New Japan Wrestling, and I believe he's bringing Ryan with him.
Yeah, they've popped up at the school a few times, and that we've let them get some training sessions in and stuff like that. But haven't really discussed anything like that, business wise. Like I'm sure that there's a lot of money to be made right now for them, especially Nick Nemeth, FKA Dolph. But like if it's something that if he wants to do it, the door is obviously open for that, but like I don't necessarily want to ask and be like, "Hey, brother, let's work a deal." You know what I mean? Like it's
I
don't know. I feel weird about doing stuff like that. So it's just kind of like he knows that the door's open, but like he's probably making a fucking shit ton of money right now. Like this is when you make your most money is when when those first bookings. So, I'm just like, I don't want to pay that much money probably, and B, I don't want to like pull the favor card or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do any of that.
Right.
So, I'll put it out into the world or whatever to him, like, hey, if you ever want to do anything, but other than that, I'm just going to kind of let it, if it happens organically sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, there's no, much like, Cardona, like there's no like a formal plan or any discussions or anything in the works like that.
Yeah, because I know a couple people. Well, maybe he could be like a surprise, and it's like, man, like you don't surprise Nick Nemeth, dude. You announce something like that. That's selling some tickets. You let people know he's going to be in the building.
Right. I mean, like I'm not saying yes or no. It's kind of like let's wait and see sort of thing. Because I mean, there's a lot of money to be made for him right now, and good for him. He should go make it. Like, there's probably far more money for him to be made in New Japan than fucking AIW Cleveland. Right. That's reality. So we'll see what happens. He's always been an awesome supporter of AIW. Used to always promote our shows, and when he was like the world champion, he just came and sat in the crowd and watched the J-Lit the one year, like just like a normal fan. Always refused to come in for free. Like, just a great dude. Always been a very cool supporter of AIW. But, it's just kind of like a wait and see, if we're ever in a room together or something, maybe we'll discuss it. But As of now, it's just kind of been, they've been going up and getting some training in and getting prepared for, this New Japan stuff. So, I'm just kind of letting that be for now.
Mm-hmm. Still pretty cool for everyone who had to be there too. You know what I mean? I'm sure that was pretty cool. We've had some cool people come through the doors. You never really know who's going to come through the door at AIW training school, and I'm sure that was pretty cool for everyone who's there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of you just never know. I remember like the one time we had like AEW was like going to be in town the next day, and I was making. Like, I had bought all those fucking action figures and shit for Britt Baker to fucking sign so we could sell. And, like, she just like took an Uber to the school and just like walked in, and like there was like one dude, like I don't even think he trains anymore, but it was like his first day, and he was just like totally fucking starstruck, like didn't know what to even say, and like I was just like, okay, here's all the shit that you got to sign, and they're like, what the fuck is going on?
That's great.
But yeah, you never know who's going to walk through those doors at the AIW Academy, that's for sure.
Yeah. It always seems like it happens like periodically too. There is no like rhyme or reason when. It's just every once in a while, boom, somebody shows up. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, doors always open, you know what I mean? Like people know that, so...
I think that comes from what you were trying to say earlier, too, with, wanting to be the place to be in Northeast Ohio. We make AIW the place to be. We have this training school. People are going to pop in. It's going to happen. It's the reason why you want to come train here. If you're an aspiring wrestler, you want to come to the AIW Academy.
Yeah, and we're always working on seminars and all kinds of different things, too, to kind of add to all that. So, it's just that's another thing that, we want to kind of get on track is showcasing and promoting the AIW Academy more in 2024. I think it's just such an underutilized facility as far as Northeast Ohio wrestling goes. It's just it's second to none in this area, and especially with the guest trainers and people that pop in, and just the level and volume of classes that we do a week at this point. We really want to do a better job of showcasing that and promoting that and advertising that. So if you're interested in being a wrestler, just email Dominic@AIWrestling.com and we'll get you set up with a tour of the facility.
Hell yeah. Well, anything else you want to get to before we get out of here? Is a healthy little dose. The card is going to change this week. I'm clocking in a little over an hour this one.
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, nothing.
All right. Well, for myself, for John Thorne, for AIW, thanks for coming this week, and we'll see you again